Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is the Rat Retreat. So if you'd like to help me, help them, just watch my stream and bring your friends because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count here on Twitch. You can also donate directly via the Twitch fundraiser. Please do so if you're able. We actually already met our goal thanks to the wonderful Wolf, but we can always exceed the goal, and that's even better. Today is Friday, which means it's time for Chibi Friday, and I'm going to do a special memorial Chibi because we found out recently that our lovely friend, who I called Creamy Kitty, we took care of for several years, has passed away. So I want to memorialize him with a little chibi. So that's what we're going to do today. If it doesn't take too long, then we can go back to the chibi food icons that I was working on last week. So to start, I actually have a different method, a little bit different method that I'm going to use for my chibi. Which means I need to get out my sketchbook this time because I'm not going to be drawing the sketch on the final paper. I'm going to draw it on the sketchbook and transfer it to the final paper. So I'm really excited because I haven't done a chibi in this manner in a while. And this is going to be, I'm trying to keep it kind of exciting for later for reveal of what I'm going to do, but I haven't used something quite like this before. I've used similar things, but first we got to get the sketch done. So I've got my standard sketch kit that has pretty much everything I need for a drawing like this. Got my sketchbook and just gonna this sketchbook always has this sketch of my pigeon is the first thing I see every time I open it. This is her stay away from my eggs face. Every time I open it, I see this scary picture of Sora. Okay, there's a flip to, this is what we were working on last time. So we might come back to this if Creamy Kitty doesn't take too long. Huh. So a new sheet of paper. As you can see, the reference image is here. I took this lovely picture of him just a few months ago. Yeah, it was like right at the beginning of the spring weather and the daffodils coming out. Very lovely, the sun hitting him. That's how I remember him. This sweet, calm, gentle boy, so friendly, loves everybody. Very sad that he's no longer with us anymore, but that's why I'm going to memorialize him today, because he deserves it. He meant something. He was valuable to me, to my husband, to everybody who came over, and he was sweet to them. So for my sketch, I'm just going to use my regular graphite. This is my favorite. Got it in Japan last year with the Celeste from Animal Crossing on it. Mechanical pencil. I think that's all I need to start. I do want to, like I usually do when I start any new sketches, write the date and what it is. What is the date? 19th of July. I just like doing this because I have decades of sketchbooks now. And I've seen other artists talk about this too, like, oh man, I wish I had started dating my work earlier. Because you have these stacks and stacks and stacks of sketchbooks. And sometimes you want to go back and you want to see what were you sketching 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when you were in high school or whatever. And I'm glad that I started dating my sketchbooks fairly early because I can go back and be like, oh, that was the summer between 11th and 12th grade or whatever. So I'm just going to put Creamy Kitty Memorial for the title. And a little heart. So the nice thing is I don't have to worry about centering this or anything. I just need to make sure it fits within this shape, which I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do. And even if I don't, I can just get a bigger piece of paper to make it work. Man, I've got little specks of paint on my desk from yesterday and the day before. Just leave it, it's fine. It's okay, they're dry. They're not gonna get on anything. Okay, so let's start sketching this beautiful boy. As usual with my chibis, start with the head. Though I feel like I start with the head, but just to get the size there, and then build the body on the bottom. So my chibis are about 1-to-1 ratio, head to body. So we're gonna make another circle here. And actually with pets, I tend to make the head even bigger than the body. It's actually, depending on the pose. Sometimes the pose necessitates more space in order to fit all the limbs so that they don't disappear behind the head. But this is a very simple pose. So sitting, and the head's just right on top. So this is not the shape of the body. This is just giving the body space to be. So first, let's add his cute little front feet. Sitting all proper, as so many cats do. They have the most beautiful, proper stance, just naturally. So elegant. And his little 4 toes each. Though on this side, the paw is facing in such a way you can only see 3 of the toes. And then the chest connects to the leg, like that. And you can see the thigh on the left side sticking out, and then just a couple little toes from the back foot on that side. And then on the other side, oh sorry, my little camera's not even doing anything useful. There. That's better. That's better. Jeez. I wonder if it would be better from the top. If I did it like this. It's upside down though. Now let's do it from the side. It's still sort of upside down. Well, it's sideways. What do I put it on? Oh, it doesn't reach. Never mind. Fine, it's going to be upside down because this actually fits better in that frame. Try to get that shadow off of there. Well, there's a little shadow right here, but that's okay. At least it's not just only looking over in this corner like it was. Okay. So the other side of the body, you can see his back curves and then just basically goes straight down, becoming his back leg. It sticks out a little bit right there. And then his other foot. Oh, I need to change the angle a little bit. So where's I want my kneaded eraser for this. The angle, I realized, so this actually needs to come up a little bit. That's why the angle is bothering me. Okay, so we're gonna make this angle up like that. There we go. And then we can see about 3 toes on this foot. So 1, 2, 3. And then his cute little kitty belly is hanging over his back foot. And then his back leg also has some fluffiness hanging over. Exie, hello! How are you? Thank you for joining me. Hope you had a great Friday so far. You're almost done with Friday, right? Anything fun coming up for you on the weekend? I feel like I have something, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, it's my speech. Yes, I do. My speech is coming up. I was really happy. I didn't need my notes very much for the first half of the speech that I practiced this morning. And I practiced all day yesterday. So today I've been practicing the second half. Okay, so now we've got the main part of the body done. Actually, I want to clean these sketch lines up a little bit because I'm getting lost a little bit in my own sketch. Let's clean up some of these extra ones that we don't need anymore. I feel like I made the foot a little bit too high of an angle now. I'm going to redraw it for a third time. How do I get this right? It's like I just need to calm down. Calm down the angle a little bit. The angle is too excited. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. And the fluffy belly. Oh, excellent. Always glad to hear that you're doing all right. Thank you. Yes, I am good. It was great this morning. I was out for my run. I hadn't started running yet. It was the warm-up, so I was just walking. And then I noticed the clouds in the sky were so beautiful. I stopped to take a picture. And then a neighbor, I didn't notice, a neighbor was out. He was like, wow, is it that great? It turns out he loves clouds too. So I was like, yay, I'm not the only person who wishes there were more clouds. So yep, been a pretty good mood since then actually. Just to meet a kindred spirit randomly in the neighborhood. Oh, nothing unusual for your weekend. That's alright too. Business as usual. It's actually, I think, the sort of basis of happiness. Nothing, because sometimes something unusual is not a good thing. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the luck. I'm going to keep doing my best to practice. I've still got some resources to make. I want to make a web page that has all my sources for the information listed. Because if I try to cite the sources during my speech, it'll just double the length of the speech, and there's a time limit for the speech. So I'm just going to have a QR code overlaid on my screen so that anybody can scan the QR code, which will take them to this page. It'll have all the sources cited, and then it'll also have how to go vegan guides, because the end of my speech is scan this QR code to go vegan today. And so there will be the how-to guides for how to go vegan, because I realized just telling people to go vegan isn't very helpful because it's actually kind of hard at first. You're born into the world not knowing anything about veganism, and you grow up and you don't necessarily know anything about it. So just saying go vegan is not like saying go to the store or something. So I'm hoping that it will be used for people. But I've got to actually make that or else my speech doesn't work. So I've still got some work to do plus practicing it so that I don't have to use my notes. So yes, I'm going to take your luck and also keep working hard. And hopefully it'll be a great speech. Then I'll get my feedback on Sunday, and on Monday I can record it and post it to YouTube to share with the world. Okay, so let's add his tail. It's just sort of sticking out. Since this is Chibi, I'm going to make it, he already had a really big tail, but I'm going to make it even a little bigger. And just for the sake, so in the reference, it's just sticking straight out like that. But for this, looks kind of weird to just have it sticking out. So I'm going to have it curve up a little bit. So it'll still be his full tail visible, but curving up gives it, and you can see on the reference image here, the little tip of his tail is curled up. Curled up tail for cats is a sign of happiness and good mood, so I definitely want this Memorial Chibi to be happy and in a good mood. So I'm just going to have it curl up a bit. And then that also visually helps direct the eye back up to the face. So we've got the face, and then the body goes down, you follow the tail, it goes back, so it's kind of a circle. Oh, thank you for the compliment too, Exie. That it's smart. I was so torn at first. I didn't know what to do about the sources cited because I've been, I graduated college, so university actually, and so I am quite used to, you don't just do research, you have to properly cite it, and it has to be available for people to check, to verify that you're not just making stuff up, and so that is, and I understand why that's important. So I wanted to make sure to do it with my speech, but I was like, how do I do that with a speech? That's so boring. I don't want to just list off my sources or something while speaking. And I don't hear people do that either when I watch a speech, like on YouTube or something. So I'm so glad I finally thought of the QR code first. The first thing that came to mind was just like put the web URLs on screen. But as I continued to imagine that, I was like, people aren't going to be able to read it. Especially if they're like on a phone screen and my screen to them is only like this big. They're not going to be able to read that URL. But little QR code, if they use, well, if they're watching on their phone screen, they can't really scan the QR code. But at least it's there. You could pause, take a screenshot, and then scan the QR code from there or whatever. Anyway, I think that's the best solution. So I definitely don't want to be citing sources while doing my speech. That's just so boring. Boring, time consuming. So I think the point of making a speech, you can cite sources in your writing, but I think the point of making a speech is to be more direct and make a bigger impact. Maybe even just to be more entertaining. Those are just all my own thoughts about that, though. Okay, so Creamy Kitty has a lovely face shape like this, where it comes out almost to a point on either side. And then his ears are like really perky. So I'm trying to capture that with the shape of his face here. And we don't see his chin very much. There's a tiny little bit of chin. What we see the most is his nose and his top lips. I say lips because the cat mouth goes out like this, so it's kind of hard to... It doesn't feel like there's one. It feels like there's two because it comes down from the nose out like that. So let me make a circle for placing. So the nosy is facing downwards. So often with Chibis, I'm looking directly at their face, but his face is pointing downwards. Just want to get that shape. I'm going to zoom in on my reference image. So it's just his head. Capture that shape. Comes down like that, both sides, and then this little part that comes down the middle, and it's kind of divided in two as well. And then his little kitty cheeks coming down, top lip, whatever it's called. It's hard. It's hard to name. One on each side, of course. And then you can see just a barely teeny tiny indication of the chin or the bottom lip or the lower jaw. All of those things. There it is. Okay. Quite happy with that. Okay, let me clean up some more of these sketch lines. And I don't have to clean this up too much since I'm going to be using a different technique for inking. But I do want to clean up just so that it's easier for me to tell what I've drawn and what I still want to draw. Okay, so the eyes now rest about here, and the corners of the eyes point straight to the corners of the nose. And since he's looking down, he's got this lovely curved shape that's really showing off his eyelashes. So I want to draw those. And then the bottom edge of the eye is like that. And it comes up into that corner of the eye. Something like that. Okay, a little bit of cleanup. I'm actually gonna get my tiny eraser out. All right, this one has just barely, I can't extend this one too much because it just barely has a little bit left on there. Trying to make these a little more symmetrical. But it doesn't have to be perfect, because even in reality, it's not necessarily perfectly symmetrical from side to side. So I think that's good for his eyes. Now let's add his perky little ears right on top. And they really are so angled forward, both because his head is pointing downwards, but also because he's using them to listen to what's right in front of him. So instead of pointing outwards, he's really flexing them to point them forward. So that means his ears, instead of sitting on the sides like right here and here, they're actually sitting like right here and right here. So I've got these little circles I've drawn. And we'll just place these triangles. I say place these triangles as if I have some triangles. There are triangles in my brain, and I'm placing them. And he had one ear kind of flat. I don't know if it was... No, I remember now. So I haven't seen him in a little while, and we only just found out that he passed away. But I'm remembering now that this ear actually curved back. It was one of those curl ears, but just barely at the tip. So it makes it, from this angle, it makes it look like it's kind of cut off, but it's actually just curling backwards. All right, so the corners of the ears are about, but not quite, at the inner corners of the eye. So I think this is about right, or the placement. Let's clean up again. So we can draw some stuff inside the ears. And we don't need this anymore. The reason I called him Creamy Kitty is because, as you can see, he had a creamy coat, creamy colored coat. He looked like a orange cream soda or something. Okay, so he's got some fluffies guarding his ears. And you can see this on this side too, and then this just sort of meets out with his cheek there. Oh, and there's some hairs pointing up off the top of his ear. And then there's not just these triangles. You can see the outside, because the ears are not flat. They're sort of curved like this. Yes, so they're not flat. They're curve around like this. And you can see that curve right here. And the same thing on this side. And then these fluffies guarding his ears. And then this side of his head actually comes out from behind the ear. The side of the head comes out. And then we've got the top of the head. Like that. And just cleaning up again. I think maybe I'll bring this cheek in a bit. Hope I remember. I want to make all of this edge stuff look fluffy. Because he doesn't have long fur, but he was very, very fluffy. So it wasn't a smooth coat. It's a fluffy, fluffy kitty. Oh, thank you. Yay! Thank you. I'm so glad. It's not very far along, so that's a good sign. I think the head is not, the top of the head is not quite lining up with the sides of the face when we imagine them from behind the ears. I'm going to redraw this. Should be matching about like this. Just a little too high. Okay, and he has like lots of wrinkles and stuff on his forehead from his ears being scrunched forward, but I'm going to do that with the color instead of with the lines, so I'll just let that be. So anything else I need to do? I could draw these lines where his whiskers are coming out, but that might be another thing I want to do with color rather than with line. So I think this is good for, well actually there's just a little crease right here from his front leg. Yes. Oh, let's make this tail a little more fluffy down here at the bottom, like what I'm actually seeing. Okay, so now it's time for, at least for me, the exciting part, because I'm going to be doing a different technique here. Let me move some stuff. Move this camera for now because I'm not sure where I'm going to need it. So first thing is take this sketch out of the sketchbook. This is why I always buy perforated sketchbooks. The sketchbooks I have that aren't perforated, I did not buy. They just like were given to me, or they came in like a blind box art supplies subscription or something. So if I'm buying it, I want to be able to pull the pages out cleanly, so I always buy perforated. Okay, so take that out, and then, oh, exciting! Wait, there's one thing. I don't want to give away the exciting part yet. I need to trim this paper. Get my little paper trimmer out. I only have a few sheets left. Maybe even this is the last sheet of this Bristol that is not quite square. I don't know what happened, but it's off. Oh, it's the last one. Hooray. I don't have to deal with this anymore after this. So, oh, since it's the last one, it really doesn't want to come out of here. It's glued down hard. I might have to trim the glue part out. Yeah, look at that. Off. Trim the glue part off. But let's just, yeah, maybe this is the side I need to trim anyway. So, actually it looks like it is. Hooray! So I'll just trim that part that was glued down as well. Just making this square. Oh, this side needs to be done too. Oh, it's still attached right there. Okay. What about this side? Yeah, you need to be done. Wow, this last page needs to be done on all 4 sides. Oh, only on 3 sides apparently. The heck? Okay, hold on. What about this side? Oh, this side still isn't good. Oh, because I used the not good side because the glue part was messed up. Anyway, it's a square now. Hooray! Let me put these scraps into the recycle and put my trimmer away. Yay, okay, now time for the big fun reveal. My new Chibi Friday, well, depending on the project. My husband got me this LED cordless bright pad, A4 size. I have not used it yet. I've plugged it in, charged it, made sure it turned on and stuff. But I haven't even taken the protective film off. But I don't know if I need to take the protective film off, but I guess I will. It doesn't look that great with it. This thing, I think, is going to be awesome because I have over here a desk with a clear glass top and a little shelf underneath with a bunch of lamps. And that's what I have used to do this kind of tracing. But I've never been able to live stream because my camera and equipment just don't reach that far. It's on the opposite room side of the room from my PC where I stream from. So my husband got me this, and that means that I can do tracing effects at least as long as it fits within this space. And so I'm really excited to use this because I've never really been able, I think maybe in the past when I was in a different house, I did some live streams with my tracing, I call it my light desk instead of a light table. I'm taking this plastic off. So anyway, this is awesome because it's portable. Charge it, you plug it in to charge it, but then it doesn't have to say plugged in all the time, so you could like bring it with you somewhere too. I don't know if this is annoying on the stream, so sorry if it is. Okay, it's gone. Oh, it's so pretty. That in the plastic recycle. So just show you how it works real quick. One, because it's nice. I don't know if I'd ever need it, but it has centimeter measurements on either side. It has a clip. I don't know if you can see that. See it in small camera, maybe? It's black, so it's hard to see. Oh, if I hold it like this. Has a clip here to hold your stuff. And it plugs in, where does it plug in? Plugs in over here, USB-C, yay, universal. And yeah, so let's see, maybe it will make my cameras go crazy, but we have 3 buttons over here. First is power. Oh, interesting how the cameras interpret the light differently. Fascinating. Okay, and then we have a plus button and a negative button. You can either tap or you can just hold it. So if you hold the negative button, for instance, and then just wait, and then it will go as dark as it goes. Or you can hold and it will go as light as it goes until you let go. Or if you want to just do it by steps, you can tap by steps too on either button. It seems like a simple piece of technology, but this is awesome because I've never purchased what people called a light desk. It was like the ones that I saw when I first learned of this technique was this huge box, and it cost like $200, and it just didn't seem worth it to me when I had a glass table and I can just put lamps underneath. So that's what I always used ever since then. But man, this is my first time having a little like portable thing, and I can use it on the stream. So to that end, you put your drawing on here. You can clip it in the clip. Yay. And then the great thing about this technique is that you can position your final piece of paper wherever you want it. So if, for instance, I wanted to put Creamy Kitty over in the corner so that there's room to write something, I could. Or if I want to center it, which I think I do, I like to just make it nice and centered, then I can do that. All I need now is a little bit of tape to tape down that small piece of paper. If I was using a page as big as this, as big as the sketchbook page, I don't think I'd even need tape as long as I did not move it from this clip, because this clip feels pretty sturdy, like it's not moving. But I'm just going to use some artist tape. Maybe that's a bit too much. Let's not get that much. Don't need that much. Too much. Okay. That's good. And double check that I have this where I want it. Okay. Boom! Just put the tape down. I like to just put the tape at the top, so I don't think I'll need to with this. Is this all the way turned up? Yes. I don't know what it'll do for the live stream, but I think I might turn off these lamps. I have 2 lamps right here. But it really helps to have outside light sources turned off to really see the drawing through. And if I do that, then I shouldn't need the ability to hinge, because it'll shine through really well. Like, it's already shining through really well even with these lamps on. And the great thing about this also, not only you can position it where you want on the final page, no erasing. You don't have to erase, except for like what I was doing while sketching it to keep my sketch clean and so I could understand what I was doing as I was sketching. And that means no more of the ink getting erased away with it, plus no more graphite getting stuck in grooves because I drew too hard. This is awesome. So thank you, husband. Yay! So actually, I'm going to put my erasers away. Don't need them anymore. Today. Don't need them today anymore. Probably. I don't need my sketch pencil either. Okay. But I do need my ink pens. Oh, you can't see them because of the reference image. Using my usual collection of Sakura Pigma pens. Oh, I need a drink of water. I was so excited about this thing and now my throat's dry from explaining. Oh, let me put my tape away before I forget. For something like that, I like to just put it away real quick. Less to think about later when I'm doing my follow-up work after the stream. Okay, move this small camera so it's in a useful spot. Oh, it's tough. Maybe if I lift it up a little bit. It's tough to actually fit the Chibi in. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, I'm gonna try turning these off. Oh, interesting. That's so weird. This one looks all red. And it might just be my screen over there that I'm looking at it on. But to me, with my naked eye, this looks yellow. And so it doesn't look right in the small camera either. It looks blue in the small camera. What the heck? White balance is crazy different between all these different things. Anyway, let's start inking. So my usual thing, I'm going to start with my, you can't see what it says or anything, so I won't show it to you. The Sakura Pigma Graphic 1, just to do the outline. And I'm remembering that I wanted to make this tail nice and fluffy, how it was in real life. Looking at my reference image too to make sure I'm capturing all the fluffiness. So I did not draw every single line in the sketch in a way that indicates this should be fluffy, because he's pretty much fluffy all over in this image. So the sun is lighting him from behind. And I'm drawing these lines, these fluffy lines, trying to indicate the direction I'm seeing the fur growing out in too. So basically growing straight out to the side on his face. And I mostly use this big pen for the outline, but I'm going to use it for the bottom part of his face too, to help give distance between the face and the rest of his body below. Okay, moving up. Okay, we got the outline done. Moving to a smaller pen. Let's see, I think I'll just go down one size to the 08. And with this tracing technique, I'm just getting the main lines down, and then I'm going to do more inking after I get it off of here. I'm basically inking everything with this pen. It's just, it's giving me what I want, so no need to go to a smaller one if it's already doing what I want it to do. Yay! That's it! Tracing done! So awesome! So it skips a step. No need to erase. Don't have to be spending a bunch of time looking for... I wonder what it looks like if I hold it up to the big camera before turn my lamp on, but then I turn it back off. So there's what it looks like, the tracing done. You can't see some of the details, so I think it is good to still tape so that you can lift just in case. Like right here, I remembered that the eyelashes were here on the tops of the eyes, and I could see it in the reference image, but seeing them through the paper, it just looks like a thick line instead of the details showing the eyelashes. So yay, I'm so glad. This new technique for doing chibis like this is going to work perfectly, 'cause this is a great size. I can do up to, let's see, I usually use imperial measurements for my art just because that's what I grew up with and what people talk about it in the industry here. But yeah, 12. So it's just a little smaller than 12 by 9, and or aka 9 by 12. 9 by 12 is my, I feel like it's my standard illustration size, so it's very close to even being useful for my larger pieces. For instance, my Summer Griffin would definitely fit on here, but the Summer Griffin uses such thick paper that it wouldn't really work very well because the watercolor paper itself is so thick. The light can't come through, but this is going to be great for stuff like this. Hooray! Okay, so we'll just turn that off and pull this tape off of here, and carefully try to pull it off. Oh, it's pulling the graphite off of the drawing. Okay, there's a little bit of graphite on here from where the pressure, oh, you can't really see it. Interesting. Doesn't really show up a tiny bit, I guess. Anyway, where I drew down, it picked it up from here. But it's on the back, so it's okay. So I'm going to use this tape to put this sketch back into my sketchbook. If I can get it under all this stuff. Another reason why I like the perforated pages, so I could keep my sketchbook in order and not have pages flying around my studio. There. And then I just use the same tape I used for tracing to boop, pop it back in there. Hooray! So we're done with this. And I just need my little clipboard. because this vinyl table topper, that's what this is so sticky with the paper. So I use the clipboard, and then I can use this handle and I can move it around. So now what I want to do, I'm trying not to get a shadow on a picture from the small camera. There, that's all right. Now what I want to do is add some details, some tapered lines maybe, especially connecting the thicker to the thinner lines. I was seeing some areas on the feet where I wanted to do that, although it's actually turned out pretty well already. So not really too much to do. That's awesome. That means finishing even faster. Ah, I realize right here I've drawn the foot a little bit out, so the other toe should be visible. So I'm going to draw an extra line here, just because I drew the belly not covering as much as it should have been. So we're going to have this toe here. And anywhere else I want to add some more light right here. Smooth out this line. Actually, everything turned out pretty good. I don't really need a lot of extra work. I think maybe I will do little dots to show where the whiskers are growing out. His whiskers are white, so they're not really going to show up very much, if they show up at all on this drawing. But the little points where the whiskers grow out always make dots on a kitty's face, and I'm seeing them on Creamy Kitty's face in this reference image too. So we'll do these dots here. And then maybe what I'll do is add the whiskers in digitally, because his whiskers are white, which means they're just barely showing up, like right here on the reference photo, because the sun is catching them and because they are in front of a shadowed spot here. And if I add them digitally, then I can get that sort of outline to happen and still have white coming out over here. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that well, but I think that's what I'll do. Wow. This is just so much easier than I expected. So I want to do a little bit of hatching just right here. Maybe a tad bit more showing where his shoulder is. There's like a little bit of a wrinkle there. Some more on his chest. Yeah, I think that's good. Don't want to add too much, just a little bit. I'm looking at his face and considering whether to do little touches like this right here. But no, I think I'll do what I said, which is use the color to make that happen. So, that means I'm done with the ink. Ah, so much faster without the more careful tracing. It's still tracing, but you feel so much freer somehow. Or maybe that's my imagination, but that's how I'm feeling. So plus no erasing. I just noticed somewhere I do want to add a little bit of black right here. Or that toe. Where I drew that extra. That's good. Oh, and it's so good. I didn't erase away any ink, so all of the ink is the even amount. Now, Creamy Kitty, I remember this reference photo doesn't show, but I remember he had lovely, beautiful light blue eyes. So even though his eyes are very much in shadow in the reference photo because of the way he's looking down, I am going to be adding that lovely blue color in here because Chibi eyes are bigger so we can see. This means next step, markers. Yay! At this rate, we might actually get back to work on the Chibi food icons during this stream because it's almost break time. And we're already this far. Plus, Creamy Kitty, his light fur pattern means we won't have to add as much marker and other color as we would for a darker colored coat. So, as always with markers, it's best to start with the lightest color first. And since he's lit up by the sun from behind, there's some as pure as you're gonna get pure white spots. But what the next color I'm seeing is gray. So, even though he's a Creamy Kitty, I'm seeing this gray color. It actually looks fairly blue in the reference photo, which makes sense because the sun is bright and yellow and warm, and it makes sense that these shadows would be therefore cool because they're the opposite. So instead of, say, using a warm gray color, I don't want to go too cool because I want him to look like a warm, creamy orange cream soda. Like, that's why I call him Creamy Kitty. So I'll use this toner gray. It's kind of in the middle of the four grays, but it's a little bit on the warmer side, which I think goes nice with the creamy. How light should I start? It's actually pretty dark because the contrast is so high between the really bright sunny patches on his fur and then the next step down. So should I just go to T2? T0 is the lightest one. Ooh, let's do it. Let's do T2. Although, it's basically break time, so I'm going to get this marker out, ready for when I come back. Yay! But I'm just going to leave it there and go have my break. Oh, and I'm so happy. I just realized my back feels so much better from yesterday. And I want to keep it that way by stretching really well and taking my breaks properly today. So I am going to put on my Be Right Back and mute my mic. Go have a break. Everybody else, please do the same. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. I'm ready to get back to work on this, and I realized as I was looking down at it, there's something else I want to do with ink before we move on. What I'm seeing is the ink on the top ended up being pretty thick, even though it didn't come out quite so thick on the sides or on the bottom. So to help balance that out, I'm going to add an extra line of black along the bottom, so that it's not weirdly thick only at the top. Oh, thank you, Exie. Welcome back to you as well. So glad to still have you with me. Oh, Aoife's coming. Hello, Aoife. I went and stretched in the den, and the puppies were like, yay, it's time to play video games, because they love to hang out with me when I'm playing video games or watching anime in there. And then when I leave and come back in here, they're like always hesitant, a little bit hesitant. And then finally, like just now, Eva's like, I guess we are going back to work. And she comes back in here. Chappie came with me right away, though, which is great because she doesn't open the door on her own. So if I hear her little claws coming up to, tapping on the ground as she's coming up to my door, I gotta get up and let her in because she won't push the door open on her own. So now we're all back in here, back to work. My puppy co-workers and me. Alright, so now I did what I said. And that's why breaks are nice too. Not just to give yourself a physical break, but a mental break. So now, even though this part came out more thick, the ink came out of the pen more thickly than it did elsewhere, I have this purposefully thickly drawn line on the bottom, so at least it's balanced out. And it always feels good to have thicker ink on the bottom anyway. It just makes it feel like it's got a good center of balance, because for a good center of balance it should be lower to the ground, especially with chibis with their giant heads. Okay, so for the gray, I think I shall apply it everywhere except for the areas where the sun is just lighting him up. So I need to keep in mind the areas. So this is the top of his head, a little bit on the side of his ear, all along the side of the face on this side. There's a little bit happening here, but I think with the black ink, there's no reason to try to retain it here. But then along the shoulders, down the back, around the leg, and even hitting on the tail a little bit, but I'm going to have to use my imagination because I drew the tail up rather than out to the side like it is in the reference. Okay. Since I am filling in the whole thing, I'm going to use the big chisel side. And I guess I'll work from this side down, because this side here is where all that bright light is, and then once I have that outlined, I know I can fill this whole area in without thinking about it. Start with the crown of the head. And we're moving over here. There's this little bit in the ear we want to save, and then the side of the face over here, basically. And otherwise, everything should have this as a base color. I'm even going to put it in the eyes just to be faster. Just hitting the back of this other ear a bit, so I'll leave a little bit there. I'm trying to move as fast as I can because the alcohol markers dry so fast. Okay. Face done. First layer. Now for the body. So we'll do the same thing, looking for these edges where the light is just so bright. It's lighting him up. And then everything else is filled in. tapping down here at the paws because where I put that ink super thick, the marker is kind of pulling it out of place. Don't want that to happen, so. She only just came in here and Chappie's already snoring. Puppies fall asleep so quickly. Alright, now for the tail. This I have to use my imagination a bit. The light is coming from this side and behind him, obviously. So, I do have some areas I can use the reference image to inform me, though. Like this big fluff is catching some light. Okay, see you when you get back, Exie. So this fluff, I'll leave some. And I think that means that this side of the tail, the underside, because it's curved up in my drawing, will be catching some light. And then maybe this part, the top on, as it gets closer to the body. Let's call that good. Yay! I feel like that looks like it matches. Okay, first color done. Hooray! It's mostly just this color, but probably good. It's mostly grays, that's what I'm trying to say. But it's probably good at this point to start getting some of that beautiful creamy color in. And some of it is so light. He was a very beautiful kitty. Thinking of either this color or this color, but since I already made everything gray, maybe going for something a little more powerful by this E21 here will be good. So let's just do that. Let's pick E21 for the first round of the creamy color. And I will put it everywhere that I'm seeing this orange. I call it creamy color, but it's the orangey red color on his fur. It's actually not the creamy color. The creamy color is the whitish fur. But for some reason, when it's... this is just a... There's so many cats that have this kind of color pattern. And for some reason, it always seems creamy to me. Anyway. I'll try to use a more accurate description. The orangish colors, I'm going to put this everywhere I see it, both in the areas where it's really light and the areas where it's really dark, like on his face and his ears. And that'll just be the base color for it all. So let's start on the tail. I'm seeing it throughout the entire tail. It's just stronger on the stripes. So I'm going to apply it to the tail, but stick to the gray area because the sun is lighting it up so bright. I want it to look like his fur is glowing. I'm going to have a little bit coming out though, on purpose. And then that way we can see that it's that orange cream color. So that's just the base. We're definitely going to be adding some stripes in there. There's plenty of other places where I'm seeing it, like right here, a little bit in here. Some of it is so subtle. I'm using the chisel tip for this one too. And I'm making lots of little strokes so that it helps add a sense of the fur texture to the image. I think that's pretty good for down on the body. Maybe a little bit more on the paws. Just right there, yeah. So it's really on his face now. I guess I'll It's hard to decide where to start. Let's start on the ears, because those are already fairly well outlined, so it's a lot easier to draw, to figure out where I want to end lines and stuff. Okay, so I've just got to be brave and start drawing on his face. So let's start with the nose. It's a really big patch of this color. And then he's sort of got these stripes, tabby cat stripes. We can start to develop that wrinkly texture in the middle of his face. It's wrinkled because he's pulling his ears really far forward. And he's got two stripes coming out the sides of his eyes, which is very, very cute. There's a little space right under his eyes that's more the lighter color first. So I'm going to try to save that and not apply this color there. Same thing along the bottom edge of his face. And his nose is very similar color, so I'm just going to go ahead and color it in with this right now. Maybe we can even add a little bit more coming out from his eyes. Yeah, I think that's good. For this first layer, the lightest of that cream color. Welcome back, Exie. Hello, hello. Ooh, what color next? I can either do the next gray or do the next orangey color. Could also pick the blue for his eyes. Let's do that. It's going to be pretty dark because it's definitely in shadow. But in general, his eyes were a really light blue. So of the options I have, I feel like these are more naturalistic. So let's go with these. We can just stick with kind of this group right here. Although instead of this one, I'm liking this color below it better. So let's start with that one. B45 for the lightest eye color. I'm going to zoom in to see if I can see in this reference image. Yeah, you can't really see very well, but I'll do my best. Because there's the corner of the eye, and then there's the iris, so I'll just try to make it seem like it's right. Use my imagination. Oh, just adding that made it look way more like him. I'm so happy with how this lighting is looking on him. That's exactly the effect I was going for. Okay, let's go back to the gray, because I think this is pretty much, I mean, we might add a little pink. I guess I could add some pink now. the areas where I'm thinking of adding pink is around the eyes, on the nose, and in the ears. So yeah, let's do that. 1/4 base, a fourth base color. That's what I was trying to say. A fourth base color. So we have the gray, the orange, the blue, and then the pink. And those would be the main colors. I mean, those are the main colors that I'm seeing. So for pink, ooh, I'm looking at my reference and looking at this swatch book. See, I definitely like this red collection. There's red violet, but that's, since there's this orange color, I think red fits better. There's yellow red too, but that's way too orange. So I'm thinking something around here. Let's do this one. R32. R32. So where I'm seeing pink on his nosy. A little bit on his lip down here. You can just barely see it. Around the edge of his eyes. Let's put it in the corner too. Makes sense. And in his ears, especially where the sun is shining through and lighting it up. I think that looks really good. Color's still very flat, but the basics are all there now, and it's already looking more and more like him. And look how nice this collection of colors looks together. So pretty. Okay, so let's start adding the next dark level of color. We're using the toner grays. Started with T2. Let's just go to T3. Let's be a little bit more subtle than I often am. I often skip a number and go up by 2. But last time, I think it was that Palomacy Reward auction chibi. I felt like I liked it better just moving one step up, so let's do that here. Okay, so now I need to pay attention to where the shadows start to get darker, because it's kind of difficult with such bright lighting from behind. So we've got to pay attention to more subtle changes. I'm using the small end of the marker, trying to get that fur texture as well as putting down shadows. I'm just looking for any big patches or lines. this back foot is fairly well shaded. I'll just color that completely in. And here I've just got to use the reference image to fuel my imagination, since I did not draw the tail the same as it is in the picture. I think that's good for his body. Let's work on the head now. And interestingly, the darkest gray area is right next to this really bright stuff. His chin's pretty dark. Trying to get that wrinkly effect in here. In between his ears, because it's really pulling him forward in this photo. That's pretty good. Next, let's choose a next darker color for the orange fur. We use this one, but I don't know if any of these are vibrant enough. They don't look like what I see. Maybe something more like this, or I could go to the yellows. Yellow reds. This might be a little bit too much. I'm just looking back and forth between reference image and what I'm seeing in my swatch book. There's this one, but it's so yellow. This one's a little bit more brown. Oh, what if I pick something in the reds? Ah, it's too pink. It's too pink. I think I might need to stick to the earth tones. And then with colored pencil, I could add more of that vibrant color that I want. Because what I'm seeing in the yellows, reds, and everything in between is still not quite. It's too much. So let's stick to the earth tones, and then we'll rely on color pencils to get the vibrancy. I have 3 selections of earth tones though, so it's still kind of hard to choose. I guess I'll stick with this group where I used the first color from. That's too yellow, so let's move up to E33. Let's try E33. Okay, so the places I want to use this first, I think, is where I'm seeing like these stripes on the tail. And the stripes get thinner as they go up the tail, it seems like. And there are some areas where it's just barely showing, but it does seem like there's a little more vibrant color happening. Little hints of stripes on his legs, for instance. And little touches on his toes, but not all of them. Most of the toes seem creamy color, the white color, which I was calling the orange color. The white color is the creamy color. Maybe even a little touch over here on this leg. Might just be the colors reflecting on each other. Definitely on his nosy though. This and his ears are where this color is strongest. Two strong stripes above each eye. And then it keeps coming up his forehead. And these strong stripes coming out of the corners of his eyes. These patches along his cheeks. But it doesn't go all the way down to his mouth. And now these areas on his ears. Another darker patch on this ear. Okay, good. Next, eye color. Go back to my blues. I used, which one? This B45, so we'll just move up to B37. Oh, thank you, Exie! Yay! This is coming along at a nice clip. I'm very happy. This is my way of turning a sad bit of news into something happy. So, I'm glad that it's looking nice. And remember this lovely boy. He looks so, like, wise. I added that dark color in there. It's funny. He was just sunbathing in this picture. I remember, I think I had patted him, but he was really enjoying the sun on his back, so he didn't leave his seat there. I was like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of you, and I did. Alright, next, pink. Let's pick a darker color for the pink. What did I use? R32, which is this one. The next step up in this sort of family. I think that's too much. It's getting too red, too even blue. I want a warmer color. So even though it's pink, it's still got this same kind of orange feeling. Like you can barely tell it's a different color. So maybe I'll just look at my earth tones. There's some pinkish colors in the earth tones. Might be happier with something from there. Oh, but these are kind of dark. It goes straight into this a really dark one. Well, maybe I'll just try it on a couple spots and see what I think. Or if I look at this one and look at the reds, maybe I can find one that looks like it's in between. This is just so dark. There's this one. No, it's too orange. Grr. Let's just try this one. R24. Not as dark as this one. This might be a nice one for the final step. R24. So this, I want to put, it's mostly his nose where I'm seeing this, any sort of darker pink color. So we'll just put it around the bottom of his nose. Yeah, his ears are still just a really nice light pink, so I don't need anything in there. Well, that'll be the only spot then. Oh, his mouth isn't shut. I'll put it on his mouth here. And I'm going to get this R32 back, the original light color, and put it on to help blend this dark color in. Boop. Yay! Okay, so we're going back to gray for the third shade of gray. So we did T2, 3, and yeah, let's just go T4. It's so nice with the grays, very easy to choose which color to do next. The areas where I want to add darker and darker shadow are getting fewer and fewer, so this is just going to keep going by faster and faster. Constantly looking over here at my reference image. And this is great because I can now hide that little area where the ink got pulled by the marker. This gray is dark enough to cover it. moving up onto his face. You're hearing a little tapping sound. Aoife's having a running dream, apparently. A big dog Aoife having a running dream. I'm always trying to start my strokes from the same side and move out in the same direction. That way they taper in the same direction so that the line is bigger on the left side always in this case and gets smaller to the right. And then on this side I'll do the opposite so that it's bigger, each stroke is bigger toward the middle and tapers out smaller toward the opposite side. It's a really small thing, but I think it really makes a difference to the overall piece with little considerations like that. It's just a sort of consistency. It might not be obvious just at first glance, but I do think it comes through sort of subconsciously or subtly or whatever word works good for that. Okay, I think that's good for this darkest gray that we're using. I think it's the darkest gray we're going to use. Who knows, I might get done with the other three colors and be like, no, let's take it a step further. We'll see. But let's move on to this orangey color. Whatever is going to be our darkest color for that. What did I use? Okay, I'm staying in the earth tones, this middle group. So I used this one and this one so far. These ones don't seem like that big of a step from here, so I might want to do something a little more bold. Although this looks pretty yellow. So I'm going to move up here. This is my more warm group of earth tones available. I think this one might be nice. Let's try this, E15. So where I'm seeing this super dark color is actually not anywhere on the body except maybe this part of this leg just because it's in shadow. So we'll put that there. Ooh, it does give a nice amount of depth there. Nice, excellent. I'm glad I did that. But really where I'm seeing it, where it's darkest pigment-wise, not shadow shading-wise, is on his face, especially around his nose. little bit right there, coming across the middle, and moving up as well. And these two strong stripes above each eye, especially. And on the ears, really strong. Actually, it got hot where you are now. How hot is it? It is crazy hot here too. Hey Google, what's the temperature?
The temperature in Boise right now is 34 degrees.
It's 34. Ah! Do not want... I'm glad I was able to get my run in first thing in the morning as usual. Get Aoife out for a nice walk. So I would not want to be running or walking or doing anything outside right now. Because it's bright sunlight too, so that makes you even hotter than the air temperature. It's cool compared to here. 26. I don't remember what it just said, but I'm pretty sure that's like almost 10 degrees cooler. Oh, that's still hot enough though. Especially, it's like almost midnight there, right? Or it is midnight. That's really hot for so late in the day. Hope you're staying cool. Have some nice cold drink with ice in it. 10 minutes to midnight. And still that hot. Oh, man. It's so hot. And it's only getting hotter, I think, as the summer goes on. We're only in the beginning of summer. Already this hot, and it's only the beginning. It's gotta stay cool. I love those emotes you put in there. Oh, man. This is really, really starting to look like Creamy Kitty now, especially once we get the colored pencils on. It's just really good. It's really gonna be him. Immortalized in art. And a sweet boy. He was such a lovable, loving kitty. He was friendly to everyone. He was friendly to our dogs. They got to know him so that even though they tend to like to, we don't let them of course, but they want to chase any neighborhood cat they see when we're out on a walk. But with Creamy Kitty, they would just give him a sniff and walk on by. I color the whole nose in with this color actually. It just really is so strong there. Oh, little Creamy Kitty. So let's get an eye color. Use my grammar correctly. Next one in this line is B39, so let's just do it because I'm not actually seeing his eye color in the reference, I'm just doing it for the Chibi. Oops, colored outside the lines a little bit. Whoopsie. And before I move on, I want to add a little ink in here to be like his pupils. And on this side. You make him look kind of sad, but he's just looking down, calmly enjoying a lovely sun bath. Oh, it looks so much like him. Oh, creamy kitty, we missed you, creamy kitty. Okay, next color is the pink for his ears and nose. And yeah, let's use that earth tone I was looking at. Yeah, it was this one, E07. It's just underneath his nose, basically, that it gets this dark. Oh, but we'll put a little bit where his mouth is too. And once again, use the lightest pink color to blend it. So we're going to bring it all the way up to the top of the nose. There's a little bit, I want to add some more pink. Couple areas on the ears. Just want it to be a little stronger here where there's not as many guard hairs blocking the color. Oh, and around his eyes too. In fact, I forgot about around the eyes. Let's use these other darker colors. Just this one I think will probably be enough. It's such a small space, there's not very much room. I lied. I didn't lie, I changed my mind. Let's add a little more of the darker color too. It's right here in the corner. There we go. And blend it in with the pink. I think I'm ready for colored pencils. Hooray! Let me put these markers away so that I can have some room for the colored pencils. And it's just about break time again anyway, so let's see, R32 goes here, E07, R24, E33 there. I keep these in numerical order. I like it to be organized. B45, 37, 39. And then the toner grays. All in a row. Oh, and I can put my swatch book away. Next, I need this nice big selection of colored pencils, which, oh yeah, I need to get my little rolling cart so I can set the colored pencil tin on there because it's so huge. Now that I have my mouse and this camera over on this side, there's not room for colored pencils to go. Alright, so I gotta put my watercolor stuff from yesterday in the drawer. Okay, that goes in a drawer. And Rolly cart comes out. And I'll open it here before I put it over. So anybody who hasn't seen it before can see this lovely selection. And I have my tin taped with gaff tape on both sides so that it's like this hinge. And then I can set the trays. There's 4 trays of colored pencils in the other tin. And then I can move the trays back and forth to select my colors. But this is going over to my right. And then instead of actually getting started, because we were really so close to break time, let's just take break early and then come back, and part 3 will be colored pencils and digital stuff. So as usual, I encourage everybody else to take the opportunity to give your body and your eyes a break. I'm going to turn on my Be Right Back, mute my mic, and be back in about 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break and you're ready for this final hour of Chibi Friday. Time to start working with colored pencils. Oh, welcome back to you too, Exie. Thank you. What shall I start on? I definitely want to add fur texture and more color. I really want to get some more vibrancy into the orange on the face, but maybe even on the body as well. So maybe that's a good place to start. What color of orange do I want though? I have lots of options. Almost every single tray of colors has some, so maybe something like this, but I feel like these aren't strong enough. I think they'll just get lost with the marker. I think some need more vibrant, something more vibrant. So we'll just go to the pure orange. Ooh, this one might be good. This feels like it's out of order, but maybe it's not. It's okay. I always struggle with my colored pencils because they have a number order. It says PC 921 on here. And they just go from smallest to biggest. But sometimes I'm like, why are these colors grouped together? It doesn't make sense. But when I've tried to organize them by rainbow order and ignore the numbers, sometimes that also is really frustrating because then they'll just be like this sort of random color that doesn't seem to fit anywhere, but it fit really well with those other two colors that it was paired with by number. Anyway, I'm just confused because it's like a bunch of yellows. Wait, I can just show you. It's a bunch of yellows. Then it starts to turn orange. And then there's blue, green, and then this orange. Why wouldn't it be? But the numbers, 918, 919, 920, 921. So this is what it's supposed to be. Yellow, 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 orange, orange, blue, green, orange. Why? It does look nice though. I have to admit, it looks nice. Even if it is in pure rainbow order. So many cat hairs in here. I guess that's okay. It's thematic for this piece of cat hairs. Okay, let's start adding this lovely color. Start at the tail. Oh yes, this is it. This is what I needed. Just a little bit more vibrant. And then it's also adding texture. Fur texture. So we can show the direction of the fur and how fuzzy he is. That's pretty much it for the body. The rest needs to go on the face. Okay, I'm going to let that be for now. I want, especially on his face, I really want an even darker color. So I don't think there's a darker vibrant orange. maybe a brown. So especially in his ears, like here and here. It's just so dark, and along the sides of his nose. Maybe this. Let's try this color. It might be too dark, but it might be exactly what I want. Ooh. Yes. It was exactly what I wanted. Yay. Oh, so much depth. So much depth happening here now. The great thing with the colored pencils is you can use the same color, but it doesn't have to come out quite as dark if you leave a little space between your lines or just don't press as hard. So I'm just looking back and forth between my reference image and my drawing. I'll go back to this orange. I think it's still a little, I think I need another brown that's in between this really dark one and the vibrant orange. Maybe this? Let's try this one. Well, that seems pretty good. Yee. Okay, what do I want to do next? Maybe a little more pink in the ears, but with a colored pencil, because even though I know these guard hairs in his ears are white like the rest of his body, the way the sun is shining through his ears is making them pretty much all pink except for a little edge right here. Maybe I'll try this color. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Yay! I feel like I'm even sort of seeing a little bit of pink down here. Try putting some on very lightly. Just like his whole face has a sort of pink tint to it. Not that it's colored pink, but something about the lighting is doing it. It's not as obvious on this side, but it is still sort of happening. Okay. Thinking about whether I want to, there's a couple areas where I want to bring some lightness back. I'm considering whether to use colored pencil or white ink for that. The white ink should probably be for stuff that's just as bright as this really bright lighting. So I suppose I'll just use white colored pencil, which, even though it's white, it's never quite as bright as white ink is. So it's actually great for this sort of step down. Eve was having another dream. Claws scraping on the ground. Alright, I do want to add a little bit more, not of the really vibrant orange, but a little bit more subtle color, because his tail and his legs have got a sort of mix happening between this really orangey color that shows up on his face a lot and then the cream color on the rest of his body. I'm not quite getting as much of that in-between color as I want. So, what's a good colored pencil color to do that? Maybe this one? Let's try this one and see. It's a little bit dull though, so let's sharpen it. With my favorite Ratchetta sharpener. That's pretty good. Put the cap back on. There's a little bit of shavings on here still, so I'm gonna sweep those into the trash can. There. Okay, maybe this will be what I'm looking for. Oh yes, it is. Hooray. It's so nice when I pick the right one from the beginning. Or at least the one I pick is able to give me the effect I want right from the beginning. So I basically just want to give more of this mix color. More space to it. Because I use the gray everywhere for shadows, so it's making it look more gray than I want it to there. And this little part in the middle I think needs a lot more dark. So I'm going to find a gray color. This warm gray? Yeah. Just use a warm gray pencil. Get some nice depth here where all his legs are coming together and blocking the sun more than anywhere else. The collection of colored pencils that we have amassed is also pretty, just like the markers were. Okay. I keep getting the image off of the small camera. Trying to keep it centered on both so that it looks nice. Okay, so I think, other than my lovely favorite purple that I like to do, I think I'm done with the body, but the eyes need some attention, and this is basically from imagination because his eyes aren't really the iris is not really visible in the reference photo. And I don't need to do much, I just want to add a little bit to soften the transition between the lightest color and the darkest color. Oh yeah, and it makes it look like his eyes are glowing. Beautiful. Okay. Maybe that means I'll put my favorite purple on. Just looking my image over one more time. Let's add a little bit more of that darkest color there. For anywhere else I want to do some final little touches before I put my purple on and then get my ink out. This looks pretty dang good. Maybe a little more darker color lower in the ear here. Alright. It's called that. Good. Put the purple on and then... Wait, which purple do I use? Oh, where's the lighter one? Yeah, here it is. Here's the color I usually use. I can tell because of all my purple colored pencils, it's the shortest because I use it. Use it for every piece like this. So now I'm just going to apply purple wherever there's shadows. It just gives such depth to the image. Vibrancy, depth and vibrancy. It's just so nice. Love doing this. Love doing this. Just moving my way up with the purple. I'm actually going to softly apply it on top of pretty much everything here on his body because his whole body's in shadow. But I don't want it to be so thick that it's taking away from the colors underneath. So I'm holding the pencil like this so that I'm using the side, and then it goes on really lightly. Okay, so now moving on to his face. It's kind of the same story with his face. It's pretty much all in shadow, actually. So I'm lightly applying the purple. Aw, I don't know if you're hearing that, but Kiki's wishing she could come in here, my kitty Kiki. She's meowing all sad. She's on me. She wants me to play with her. Let's add a little bit to the eyes too. Showing that they're being shaded by the eyelids because his head is tilted down. I think we're done with colored pencils. Only thing, let's put a little bit more in here. Make it a little stronger, because this should be the darkest spots. Make that strong. Okay, done colored pencils. Let me get, oh, actually, let me put the colored pencils away first, because I have had accidents in the past where I knock over my colored pencils onto the floor, and then it's a huge chore to clean them up. So let me just put them away, and then I'll get my ink. Okay, and I'll have to step out for a second because I need a little bit of water in order to thin the ink. think I need a brush. Here's my tiny 000 and the deleter white one. I'll just set those there. I'm gonna step out for just a moment. Get some water into this palette. I'm just gonna mute my mic and be back in 30 seconds. Kiki really wanted to come in. She's in here. Well, I'll give you a little cameo of Kiki. Yeah. Hey, Kiki. You really want to hang out with us today? But you always sneeze on my work. Oh, you don't mean to? Aw. I know you don't mean it, but I got to preserve the work, so I'm going to put you back out, and we'll hang out later. Okay, out you go, Kiki. I'll tell her you said hello, Exie. She really does. She just wants to hang out with me all day, but she has a chronic sneezing issue, and she also just sheds hairs all over the place like any other furry animal, so I don't let her be in here too much. Though she's so cute, I always let her in, and I'm like, oh, and then I just have to clean stuff up after she's been in here. Okay, so the reason why I had rubber band to this little, what do you call this? Like popsicle stick, is because, as you can see, this ink, or maybe you can't see. Okay, you can see this ink always separates after a while. So I use this little stick to mix it back up. So I'm gonna mix this. I think this is fairly well mixed. I'm trying to get the stuff at the bottom. So what happens is that the stuff at the bottom really starts to get dry and caked up even if the top is mixing in, so I'm scraping it. And I think I've got everything, so I'm just gonna scrape this little popsicle stick off. And heck, I might just be able to use what's left on the popsicle stick. I'll just set this there. Okay, so I've got a tiny bit of water in the, oh, you can't see because of the reference. There's a little bit of water in this middle part of this palette. So I'm going to dip my brush in some water, get some ink on it. And yeah, there's enough still left on the popsicle stick. I don't even have to get any out of there now. Out of the tub. The pot. The container. Okay. This seems like a nice consistency. I like to add water because this stuff is really thick, and by adding water I can control better how much goes on the page and how thick the line is. So, some areas I want to add. I see a little tiny bit of shine right here. Just some little furs catching the sun. And the same thing happening in the ear on this side only. turn it so that I can do my hand better. So I can move my hand more freely. Do my hand better. I'm so descriptive. That's actually my everyday speech is I speak in super generic terms like that, and then usually whoever I'm talking to knows what I'm talking about. And a lot of times if they don't know what I'm talking about, they just let it be and they don't let me know. So I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. That's why the Vegan Toastmasters is great, because it makes me think not just for vegan conversations, but just in general speaking. Oh, the other person might not know what I'm talking about. Okay, now I'm adding a couple whiskers here. Cats usually have these whiskers coming off the top of their eyebrows. And these ones are catching the sun right here, so you can see them. You can't see them on this side just because they're white on white. And we'll do the same thing down here. Well, I'll try, because the proportions are different, so I don't know how well it will work. But the same thing is happening with the whiskers on the right side, where the sun catching the whiskers makes it brighter than the background, the body. So let's add whiskers in like that, imagining them coming down. I might want to, like I was saying earlier, I might want to just add more in using digital. So I'll let that be as far as the ink is concerned. And let's just add a little bit more ink in a couple key places. Mostly to create more depth, not necessarily because it's what I'm seeing in the reference. So if we add more highlights on the arms, it'll help bring them forward, which creates more of a 3D effect. Actually, I don't think there are very many spots where I need more. Maybe the outside edge of this ear. Moving a little higher on that ear. Oh, and we could do a bit on the back of this ear and this ear. Purposefully going on top of the black ink here, so that it really gives it a highlight feeling, like it's so bright that even the ink is fading away. The only other thing I'd like to do, naturally there's no highlight entering these eyes, but this is an anime inspired style. So we really got to get a little touch of highlight in the eyes, as it brings them to life. So regardless of how realistic it is, we're going to put a little touch of highlight in each eye. And since it's Chibi, going a little extra with the highlights, those little cute dots. So we wouldn't even have highlights in these eyes to begin with, and then we're going to take it even further. Somewhere else I'd like to put a highlight is right on the nose, because that just indicates health and life. I think that's good. So, rinse out my brush. We still have plenty of time, so I am going to move on to some digital stuff. It's mostly just digitizing this image. But like I said, I wanted to try getting the whiskers to show up using digital media. Brush, please stay up here. Doesn't want to. Okay, I'll set you on the desk. But before I do that, let me sign this. Excellent. So I'll leave this here. Oh, let me cap my ink too. It's already thick enough without letting it dry out. Okay, here, that ink is okay. I'll leave this here while I get my digital stuff set up. It shouldn't take too long. So turn on my scanner. Move my secondary monitor so it's pointing towards my PC workstation. I need to grab my keyboard and mouse, so actually I'm going to move this. So I can't tell because I turned my monitor whether you can see the image. I'll try not to let it be boring for too long. Okay, keyboard, mouse. Okay, sounds like my scanner is warmed up. So I think the last thing I need, other than the drawing itself, is to move my mic over to my PC station. So I'm going to mute it and move it. So I'll be back in like 5 seconds. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. Now I'm just going to hit on OBS and switch to my desktop view. There we go. And grab this image. Hopefully the ink has dried because I'm going to wipe it now with my brush to get any basically colored pencil bits is what I'm looking for. Little tiny crumbs of colored pencil sometimes come off. I think that's good. Okay, pop that into the scanner and click preview. Yay! Okay, so let's rotate that. Move this marquee down. You don't need the whole page, just the part with the kitty. And scan. This will get myself another drink of former smoothie and mostly water while I'm waiting for this scan to happen. My smoothie had cinnamon in it, and I can still taste it in the water. So it's kind of yummy. Cinnamon water. Guess while it's scanning, I can get photo. Oh, it's done. Excuse me. Okay, open in Photoshop. This is cute. This is juggling. Oh, it's 3 and they go together. That's adorable. It works so well, too. Oh, my PC is like, oh my god, we're opening Photoshop. Turn on the fans. Okay. Alright, I'm going to minus the lazy Nesme. I don't need to see the menu for that. Okay, so first thing to do, let's make a new layer. Oh, and let's save it. Let's see, career files, visual art, artwork, and name it today. Chibi Creamy Kitty. There. Okay. Now, with the copy that I made, adjust the levels. Try to get the blacks blacks, the whites whites. Not too much. I like to keep some of that paper texture. Even though maybe it's not as white as a purely digital image would be, I still like to keep a little bit. This is not meant to be a purely digital image. See, mostly physical media image. Okay, I think that's good. Maybe I want to do a little teeny tiny brighter. Just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. Good. Oh, awesome! Yay, I'm glad you think so. Hooray! Oh, what shall I do first? Well, first I have a couple little lines that I just want to clean up, and I don't even need to clean up this one. Let's separate the image from this white space. So, how do I do that? Is this the tool? Yes. Use this object selection tool, highlight it, and it's usually pretty smart. Nice, it did a really good job. Sometimes it gets confused with these areas where it's as white as the paper, but it's like, oh, but here, but no, it did a really good job. And it always misses this part, so I press Shift to get it to select my signature as well. Okay, see you in a second. Xy's going to be right back. Now I'm checking for anywhere, so right here. I'm checking for areas like this where there's a teeny tiny selection that it didn't get that I want it to get. So I press Shift. Oh, it still didn't do it. If it still won't select it, go to the lasso tool, press Shift, and then just circle that area that you want it to select. So I'm looking for any other areas like that. Looking pretty good though. Okay, awesome. That was the only one like that. So next I go to select, modify and expand by 10 pixels. I always pick 10 pixels. And then Control X to cut, Control V to paste, and then it will paste it centered. Then I can delete this background copy. And now we have these nice clear pixels. And the first thing I want to do, little cleanup right here. I made a line, and I don't really want that line. So, go to this little Band-Aid tool. Spot Healing Brush Tool. It's the Band-Aid tool to me because it has a little Band-Aid icon. Whee! And I'm actually going to go through and tap any other areas like that where I'm seeing just like little specks. Just to clean it up. Really nice for digital presentation. It's not that these are problems or mistakes. This is just all about cleanup and the final effect. So whatever you want the final effect to be, that's what I think you should use digital cleanup for. And as you can see really close up, the paper color is still retained. It's not pure white. I'm just looking the image over. So here's like a little bit of ink sticking out. So I clean that up. Same thing here. Oops. It doesn't always get it right. Okay, I'll leave that one because it won't clean it up right and I don't want to deal with it too long. It's not that important. It's very small. Okay, good. Next, let's make another layer. There's really not that much to do with digital. I just wanted to see if I can get whiskers. So I've got these little marks here, but I'd like if I could get some more showing on this side too. But that's almost impossible drawing white on white. that's why it's nice to do it digital. So I'll make a new layer. We'll name it Whiskers. And I've got to rearrange my space here. So I'll put my keyboard over to my right. And my mouse too. And then I can pull my Cintiq tablet monitor into my lap. Get my stylus. And let's try. First I want to, where's my Alt button? Ah, this one. Choose a color. Oh, no, I'm on the wrong thing. I have to be on brush. There we go. Choose a color. And then let's try, so we want to make it about as thick as this. Oh, wait, I want to get a textured brush. If I can. That's my pencil. What was I liking? Pastel? I think I was liking this pastel, but it's too big. Too big. Not big? No, too small. About 20 is what I want, I think. Somewhere. Oh, yeah. So let's try. Oh, it's not quite as much. Oh, sort of what I want. Maybe I should have just done it with ink. Actually, I think I want to enhance what I'm already seeing here. Maybe I'll just leave them, the ones that are already here with ink, and just enhance them with some overlay. Because actually, I think that looks pretty nice. You don't need them. They weren't visible in the reference image either. Yeah, what the heck. I'll just leave it like that. I don't need to add more. Aw, that's so cute. Cute, sweet boy. Rest in peace, creamy kitty. I'm putting my tablet monitor back up. I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think there's much more to do. We still have 9 minutes left. Guess I can save this. I usually save in a couple format. No, I'll just save it for DeviantArt. That's where I post most of my work. Well, I post all of my work there, actually, all my main work, so. I'm just thinking, what do I want to do on stream with only 9 minutes left? 8 minutes now. So, what I usually do is add my, let's see, where is it? My custom shape. It's my seal. Hold shift so that it stays square. I just add my seal so that if anybody, Photoshop is struggling. If anybody sees this image somewhere and it's not on DeviantArt, then they'll be able to see where it came from. So the fill color, I'm going to select from, let's see, make sure it's doing, I guess 3x3 is alright. Select from the ink color. So as you can see, pure black would be in one of these corners here, or anywhere along the bottom. But it's way up here. That's why I choose that for the fill, so that it matches. And then I do want a stroke, and I'm going to use this color, paper color. And we want this to be 10 pixels, just like the outside of the drawing is. But as you can see, it didn't remember my settings from last time, so I've got to change it so that it goes on the outside, make these round. There. And then I've just got this little seal here so that people, you know, my signature isn't super recognizable. So this has words that people could search. and find my website or my DeviantArt or whatever, if this image comes up in a Google search or something. But I feel like I want this seal to be a bit bigger. So let's Control T and then pull it to make it a little bigger. There we go. I usually would put it somewhere like down here, but the best spot is up by his head, so it's going up by his head this time. That's where it fits the best. Oh, thank you, Exie, and welcome back. Thank you for joining me for this last few minutes. You can see how I save for DeviantArt and other web stuff. Okay, so now I'm wondering if I want to trim the image a little bit. We've got these extra pixels for no reason. So let's go to image and canvas size. We'll just make it a tiny bit smaller. Let's take it down. Let's see if 2430 is not too small. And how about 30? What would this be? 3090? Let's see if that doesn't cut it off. Proceed. Oh yeah, that didn't even cut that much off. Oh, that's good. It just makes the file size a little bit smaller if it doesn't have too much extra data here. Because this is data. So that's taking up kilobytes just to have that, but that's fine. So first let's save the main image, the PSD, and now save a copy. And my new thing that I am trying to be in the habit of is making sure this ICC profile is checked. For years and years and years, this was not something I needed to worry about. And then Adobe Creative Cloud or Photoshop, whatever it was, got some update some point last year. And now I have to check this. I have to make sure it's checked. So we don't want to save it as a PSD. We want to save it as a ping. So it'll have this nice transparent background. And then instead of copy, we're going to name it for web. Oh wait, I just realized I'm saving it way too big. So once again, because it's for web, I don't want to be gigantic. Here's full size. This is massive. this is too big. So go to image size, not canvas size. And I think I do 1,000 pixels long on the longest side for Chibis. There. That's what it was. That's what the preview was that I was just trying to save. So now we can save a copy. Now, ICC profile is checked. Change it to ping and call it. Oops. Where are we? Otherwhere. I lost where my cursor was. For web. There we go. Yay. So now you know how I save my pictures for DeviantArt and stuff. What I also do just in case, so you can see here that I did save it before I changed the image size. But if I close this file right now, it'll give me a pop-up that says, do you want to save before closing? If you choose that, if you say yes, without realizing what's going to happen, it's going to save it this size, and so you're going to you'll lose that big size image. So what I do, go back in the history so that it's big, and then Control S to make sure it's saved. And then when I close this file, here I'll just show you, when I close this file, it doesn't ask. So there's no risk of me accidentally saving it way too small. But we're just 2 minutes away from the end of stream time, so let's call it good here. I don't really need to, like, show you. Here it is. Here he is, all big. Whee! Where's my phone? Let's find somebody to raid. On this lovely Friday. Well, for Exie, it's Saturday now. going on Twitch. Oh, we have a couple options, but Margot Simone Art is actually doing art. So let's go visit her. Oh, you're welcome, Exie. Yay! I'm excited to see you next week. Hooray! Thank you for being with me all week, making it fun. I'm just opening another instance of Twitch in Firefox. Make absolutely sure that this stream, that this raid works. I wish it would just give you a confirmation message, message when you're in Stream Manager, so it would be like raid successful, so that I could feel confident that everybody has been dropped off. But it doesn't, so that's why I just open a new instance of Twitch so that I'm not in the Stream Manager. Okay, /raid Margot Simone Art. I spelled that right? Yes, okay. Enter. Hooray! Raid is counting down, so let me thank you for joining me, especially Exie. Thanks for joining me all week. So awesome. I'll be back next week on Wednesday for some more illustration work on my Summer Griffin piece, so I hope to see you then. The raid's ready to go, so let's go! Yay! The raid worked, so if you're still on my channel or watching the live stream recording later on YouTube, or I guess on Twitch for the next 2 weeks, that's it for me today. I hope to see you next week. Thank you for watching!